Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Kristy Taylor, founder of Work Solutions LLC, where we support mission-driven individuals and organizations in the social impact sector. And I'm so excited tonight for another episode of Ask a Social Impact Career Coach. I have 3 different questions I'm going to address tonight. I'm also going to update you on some of the great things that we're doing with Work Solutions. So let's hop right into it. We had a question come in. This individual says, Dr. Taylor, I was let go from my previous role. How do I explain this to my new job? Well, here's the thing. When you're let go from a role, it can happen. Explaining this to prospective employers can really be challenging, but with the right approach, you can actually turn this into a positive discussion. So I just want to give you a few tips. If you have been let go from a job and you are asked about your last role, one of the things you need to do is, one, be honest, right? Being honest is important. You want to be tactful. So you don't want to answer that question by complaining about the last job. Avoid any type of negative language or placing the blame. Instead, you want to focus on what you learned from that experience and the growth. I mean, being let go from a job, it happens. Sometimes you're just not the greatest fit for an organization, or that organization might not be a fit for you. Just take it as a lesson learned. Focus on the positive things that you learn from that experience and keep it moving. Also, keep your explanation brief. That goes back to that part of being tactful. Keep it brief. Provide just concise explanations in terms of, even around what may have happened. I usually will respond to or advise clients respond to those questions as, maybe I just wasn't a good fit for the environment. The environment wasn't a good fit for me. And talk about what you learned from it. And the last couple of things I'll say in response to that is focus on the learning and growth experience, because even if it wasn't a job role that lasted long, it was still something that you had an opportunity to grow from. And just focus on highlighting the skills and experiences that you gained from that role. And be sure, as I would tell anyone, before you go into any type of job interview, especially if you know that you have been recently let go from your job, make sure you practice your explanation, because the question will pop up, especially if the question is, why did you decide to leave your last role? And if your response is, well, actually, I was let go from that role. This was not a great fit for me, but I did learn a lot, right? So there's ways that you can answer that question. Just remember, keep it brief. Be tactful. Don't complain about the job. Focus on what you learned from the experience and how you plan to move forward. Sometimes we're let go for various things, like if it was layoff related or performance related, and you can just be upfront. I faced some challenges in this role. I wasn't a great fit. And during this time, I just took some steps to assess and improve my skills, particularly in the areas of improvement. And I also sought feedback. So that's what I wanted to share, because I think that I get a lot of questions centered around job gaps and what happened if I got let go. So be positive, stay focused, and be prepared to answer questions if you have been let go from that role. Now, I had 2 people to send me, actually, these were questions that were previously sent, and I have not had a chance to answer them. So I'm going to address these 2 questions tonight. And that actually wraps up that first series of questions that is the reason why we started doing these live events. So again, we are always looking to help you. You know that if you have any questions, you can schedule a free 15-minute appointment with me. I'm happy to step in and help you for that 15 minutes, right? But we have tons of information online for you. So here's a question that came to me. Dr. Taylor, my name is Mona. I'm feeling burnt out at my current job. So hold on, I think I've answered Mona's question before. Okay, it was Michael's question. Okay, so Dr. Taylor, my name is Michael. I'm approaching 50 years old and worried about ageism in the job market. Again, we're getting ready to launch these DEIA panels, and that is a part of the discussion. I need to make sure that is included. Michael says, how can I make myself an attractive candidate to potential employers despite my age? So here's what I'm going to say to you, Michael. First of all, employers should not be discriminating based on age, but we know that some people do take that into account, even if they don't write it down, right? The same way that they would take into youth account. So here's what you do. You're aware that this might happen, but my response to you is focus on highlighting your experience, focus on your track record of success, and the value that you bring to that company, and always stay current. 50 is not an age where you are so behind the curve, right? You've been working, you're staying current, you're connected, and demonstrate your commitment to continuous learning by relevant certifications and courses that you've completed. Now, I think that any of us in a current work environment, especially because of the rise of AI and other technology, we have to always be in front of, making sure that we're continuously learning. And that's anybody at any level, anywhere. And we have to be open-minded. Make sure that you're tech savvy, and ensure that your resume and online profiles are modern and showcase your digital skills. Now, what do I mean by modern? I just mean that your resume is updated. I want to say this to anybody that's listening. I write resumes to get results. Applicant tracking system compliant. The resume has all of the key words that it needs. And you don't need a colorful resume. You might want to add just a touch of color. But if you want to be taken seriously by employers and you really want to stand out, unless you're moving into a creative field like graphic design, you want to have a resume that gets to the point. Remember, recruiters are only going to look at your information for about 5 to 7 seconds. So you have a max of 7 seconds to make that impression. So a professional resume with a pop of color, where the information is written in a format of action, impact, result, and it's not just job descriptions. Again, if you have questions about that, we have a free masterclass, the Kickstart Your Career Masterclass, right there on the Work Solutions website. And we show you how to do this stuff. We walk you through the process, or at least to help you get started. Now, one of the things I also want to tell you, Michael, is that you focus on networking, right? Connect with other professionals in your field and leverage your existing network for opportunities. Don't focus on the age thing, because you bring a wealth of knowledge to the table. Yes, it's something that you're conscientiously aware of, but we're not going to approach the job search process like that. We are going to stay focused. We're going to stay positive, and we're going to do a strategic job search, because you have years of experience that could most likely position you to be in some form of leadership role if you're not already have one. Now, so focus on your strengths, stay current of industry trends, and let's be strategic in that job search. The last question that I want to answer tonight came into me from Faye. Faye is self-employed and struggling with time management. So every now and then, even as a career coach, I do get questions from individuals that are employed. And to that point, after I'm done answering Faye's questions, we're going to talk a little bit about what if you have a full-time job and also you run a business, right? Because sometimes some of my clients who've done this, they don't always feel comfortable sharing that they run a business. And it can be give or take. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, right? Because sometimes it can help you. In my case, most people know I still work a full-time job while I run this business. It was my business that actually helped me to get that full-time job, because I've been coaching since 2016. So Faye says, Dr. Taylor, I'm self-employed. I'm struggling with time management. How can I stay productive and avoid procrastination? So last week we had a question that I answered, that the individual, she worked from home, and it was almost like the same situation, right? Where she found herself like in these time sinks. So what I would say to you, Faye, is, as someone who's self-employed, and I know this better than anyone, time management is so important. And so it's really important that you take time to really focus on the different hats that you wear as a business owner. I think that as business owners, we can get so overwhelmed with all of the things that we have to do. So if you're listening in right now, this is some great information and strategy for you, even as a business owner. Think about the hats that you wear: marketing, finance, right? Business development, client engagement, customer service, especially if you're a one-person show. I'm lucky enough to be able to bring in a team to support and work with me, but it has not always been that way, and I'm still wearing many hats. One of the things you have to do from a time management standpoint is you have to decide which day you're going to wear which hat, right? I'm not going to be able to be the marketing person today, but I plan the week so that we have strategic days where we are focused on marketing. Okay, this day I'm going to look at my books. This day I'm going to look at, my marketing day, like yesterday, I spent some time looking at the website and my SEO. So put everything into the bucket of where it goes, and then it won't be so overwhelming to you when you're trying to manage these different aspects of your business, right? And the next thing you want to do is you want to set daily goals. So you put everything into a bucket, you set daily goals, you break down your larger projects into smaller, more achievable tasks, and then you hold yourself accountable for that. I can't flip my camera around, but right in front of me on my office wall, I actually have my Q2, my quarter 2 goals. And what I've done is list everything that I plan to do, from making sure that each quarter I have it where we're going to sit down and we do an SOP review of our strategic operations. And then I also have the quarterly goals and targets that I'm going to hit. I literally bought one of those. Let me get this for you. I literally bought one of these big gigantic post-it notes. Well, I just happen to have them because I do workshops for businesses. But I put that post-it, I write out my quarterly goals, put it on my wall, put it right in front of me. And that's my visual, because again, part of that mindset thing is having a visual of what you want to do and where you want to go, right? So that's my visual that sits right in front of me. I had for this quarter, I'll share one of my goals. I went into, participate in 3 podcasts and a summit. I wanted to do some type of conference. I also wanted to launch the clothing line, which we're on track to hit each one of those goals, because having it in front of you holds you accountable. So break down your tasks, create a schedule, and develop your weekly schedule, and then allocate specific time blocks. Remember, you're working your things in terms of buckets. Unless it's an absolute emergency, I've already planned my marketing for the week. I'll come back to that next week, because I've already have everything set up on my social media and all those things. The other thing I want to tell you is to minimize distractions, because when you're working and focused on your business, because it can be so overwhelming. It's easy to get distracted because you just want to do something else or think about something else, right? Or people may be coming in and coming out, especially if you have a family. So the time that you are sitting down, every day I work on something with my business, and I encourage you to do the same. And I'm trying to get myself to where I'm like at a Monday through Friday, maybe Saturday morning type of work structure, but every day do something to keep the ball rolling for your business. And during that time, minimize distractions and make sure that you're working in a distraction-free area. Do your best that you can. Sometimes I just put headphones on to just kind of zone out and focus in on that little hour that I'm going to be working, or hour or 2. Whatever you need to do to minimize those distractions in that time that you have committed to working your business that day, whatever bucket you're working from. The last 2 things that I want to tell you, Faye, is make sure that you take time to celebrate. You reward yourself, schedule your breaks, reward yourself for completing the tasks that you do. It's okay to take a break. You work this thing every day and you're going to see progress. So you're a visionary, you have your goals in front of you, and you know where you're going, because self-discipline is key. And when you create the routine of, I'm looking at my various buckets that I have for my business, I know what my quarterly and annual goals are. That's part of your strategic planning. That's going to really help you, because you're clear about where you want to go. When I used to jump on these lives in the very beginning, and I'm still learning, right? When I used to share information with you guys, I would jump on and I would give you a long dissertation about what it is and what I do. But now I can come on. I'm Dr. Kristy Taylor, social impact career coach. I support mission-driven individuals and organizations in the social impact sector through career services, resiliency coaching, and workshop development. That's very clear. That I know what it is that I do. And so sometimes that can take a while, but I hope that the information and tips that I provided to you today, they really help you to go in the right direction. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you is a question that I'm getting a lot for people who continue to work full-time jobs while they are managing their business, or maybe you had a business in the past. What I often encounter with clients is that you may be afraid to add that business to your job because maybe, some organizations may see the business as a distraction. So what I would say is be strategic about how you do that, right? If I'm applying for a job, I know it's going to cost me, sure, I can do my business with this job. But if I feel like that the employer may see this as a distraction versus value added, I'm not going to necessarily share that information about my business, right? I'm going to put what's pertinent to the role that I'm applying to. But in some cases, especially in the areas where I work, it's important that I share that I have this background. I had a client recently who wanted to transition from one area of clinical hands-on patient care to sales. And just so happened that she had previously owned a business. So in that particular case, We updated her resume to highlight the fact that this person had owned a business. She had a background in business development, business management, business operations, client, all of those things that it takes to be successful in a sales role, in terms of client engagement, B2B, B2C type of client connections, database management. We talked about all of that. And so that has given her the tools that she needs to be able to move forward, at least to justify that and why she decided to transition into a full-time sales role. So again, be strategic about that. You may or may not decide it's your personal business in terms of what you want to share, unless it's an absolute requirement. Because sometimes if you're applying for like government roles, that's completely different, right? So being upfront about what you do is really important. So today was great, and be sure to check us out on Work Solutions on YouTube, WORXK Solutions. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Thank you.